G'day folks, ZiggyD here, and today I want to talk about one of Wolcen's most exciting and unique features. One which may well be the result of a bug, and one which might be disappearing soon, unless we can convince the developers otherwise. I'm talking about upgrading uniques. Last week's patch fixed the dark market in the endgame champion of Stormfall mode, and after some testing it was quickly discovered that you could use the increase rarity option to turn unique items into legendaries. This rather unusual upgrade from a unique to a legendary allows for extra affixes, it makes the items craftable with ethereal reagents, and allows them to be socketed, none of which you can normally do with unique items. Now, unique items in Wolcen are the developer-crafted items with set-specific modifiers. Most uniques in the game are fairly weak if we're being honest, and don't scale well into the higher levels, and cannot be socketed, meaning they miss out on large amounts of added weapon or spell damage, life, resists, block, and so on. Some uniques, however, do have some pretty interesting stats or mechanics, like a two-handed sword that allows the use of lightning spells. The upgrade rarity option was likely only intended to be able to turn a good 4-stat rare into a legendary to add 2 extra affixes to it for further improvement, an alternative to outright crafting legendaries, which is a pretty nice feature that the game has available. The ability to turn the aforementioned mostly fairly weak but sometimes interesting unique items into legendaries opened up a whole new dimension of gearing. It's also something about the game that is truly unique, something I've never seen done in an action RPG on this level, taking weak but interesting developer handcrafted unique items and converting them into craftable items and enhancing their power level in the process. The ability to gamble on using an Ohm's Echo to remove a bad unique affix and add a new one, like for example removing the less attack speed on Seal of the Arbiter, presented exciting but risky crafting options for late game characters. It also made finding a unique item that much more exciting because you know that you can possibly upgrade it into something really good to customize your build with. Items you might not have considered due to the power difference between most uniques and legendary rares suddenly have potential, and it expands the tail end of character gearing quite a long ways. In short, this is an incredibly unique mechanic that helps to set the game apart, while being very fun and motivating to engage with. Now, as this was likely an unintended mechanic, it's not really well balanced at the moment. Currently, when you upgrade a unique, you get an extra 5 to 6 affixes on top of what is already there. This is obviously too much, as it potentially outclasses normal legendaries and rares by just way too much. Also, there are some pretty weird behaviors with crafting on this at the moment. Ohm's Echoes work well and fine, but Abyssal Tears and Erebin Tears don't really work very well. So here's my proposal for the developers to consider. Keep this super fun and interesting mechanic, but just rebalance it. I'm sure the developers will be able to come up with their own ideas for this, but perhaps upgrading a unique could just add 1 or 2 random affixes, but cap the item at 6 affixes. For uniques that only have a few affixes, this could increase their power level a bit, whilst enabling further crafting. For uniques that already have 6 or more affixes, this would simply enable crafting, but not immediately affect their power level. And as for sockets, I personally think uniques should be socketable anyway. It's weird that they aren't, but it could be left that they can only be socketed once being upgraded to legendary uniques. By setting the cap correctly at 6 affixes, it should also allow the use of Abyssal Tears to try and remove bad affixes and Erebin Tears to add affixes back up to the cap of 6. This would make upgraded uniques similar in potential power level to legendaries. Obviously some would be a bit stronger depending on the unique affixes, but it would also allow the player to customize them and take advantage of their more unique modifiers. It'll also present plenty of fun and risky crafting opportunities in the late game. The other day, the developers of Wolcen posted a known issues thread saying things that they would be fixing in the next patch. One line in particular makes me very sad to see. Uniques can be altered. This suggests that, come next patch, unique upgrading could well be gone from the game, possibly forever. Now, games have bugs, and most of the time, these bugs need fixing. But occasionally, one of those bugs turns out to be something that can help make a game better. Turn to even some of the earliest games and you can see examples of this. Space Invaders had a bug or an unintended mechanic where as you killed the invaders, the remaining ones got faster. This was a side effect of freeing up limited memory, speeding things up in the game. It turned out that this made the game much more challenging and exciting, and it actually set a very common and wide-reaching fundamental precedent for video games as a whole. The concept of things starting out easy and getting harder as you get closer to winning. It sounds basic, but you can kind of trace the roots of this concept back to this moment. You can see examples of this concept in almost any game today, including action RPGs. What was effectively a bug became a fundamental part of gaming. So I encourage the developers, recognize what you have accidentally stumbled upon here. This bug, this unintended mechanical flaw in your code, is actually something brilliant, something incredibly fun and exciting for the game. Recognize what you've accidentally discovered here. Rework and balance the concept as needed, sure, but use this opportunity to make Wolcen a better game. If you folks are feeling the same way, have your say in the comments below and let the developer know about it more importantly. I personally really hope to see this mechanic stay in the game in some form, because it's something I'll want to come back to and do more on future characters. That's it for now, I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.